The Dorky Diva Show presents
Why is this seat so much more comfortable?
the long-awaited sequel to the adventures of the Zolan Dart audio drama.
Have you seen the captain's datapad?
Trying to work, Murph.
Piloting the Zolan Dart by himself,
You do understand the details of this particular job, correct?
I've been on plenty of jobs like this. With you!
Reldar Sias returns to a planet he thought he'd left behind for good.
Is there a reason you didn't mention I was tagging along?
Hopefully having you there will make others think twice about messing with me.
Making new friends
Oh, you must be the pilot of the Zolan Dart, yes?
I guess I am.
and reconnecting with old ones.
Reldar?
Vera?
What are you doing here?
Until past grudges resurface.
I'd be minding my own business if I were you.
Well, if your business wasn't being handled right in front of my face, maybe I could mind my own business. We have to leave. Now.
Why the rush all of a sudden?
We're in trouble.
If it isn't little Reldar Sias.
Hey, Yorick. Long time no see.
Roz already knows you're here.
Oh,
Look who decided to come home.
Reldar must confront his origin.
I must admit, I never saw this as being a part of your past, Softshell.
Or let it define his future.
I will get what is owed to me, no matter the cost.
because what Roz is trying to do is wrong.
Says you.
My blasters, we're going to need these. Take that, Sleemo.
Who do you think you are?
The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, Episode 2, coming soon.
Welcome to Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete,
And I am Jason Hondo Ling.
and we are back with a brand new episode of Star Wars to tantalise your earbuds. Jason, you've had a fantastic weekend. You have been at LFCC. For those who don't know, that is London Film and Comic Con at the Olympia in Kensington, London, run by Showmasters. It's obviously a fan convention. Just talk us through how awesome it was to start with overall, then we'll dive into some details.
Yeah, no, obviously, really big thing for me. I love doing the conventions and everything. First time I'd ever been to LFCC, and the first time I'd took my youngest daughter to a Comic Con where she was in costume. So she went dressed as Rey, and we had a whale of a time. According to her, it was the best day she's ever had, so that's got to be a bonus. But yeah, no, it was just a really fun convention. Really interesting place, Olympia. Never been there before, but quite an old building with lots of character in itself, which sort of lended itself to the whole Star Wars and basically Comic-Con experience. And yeah, there was a lot going on there, and a lot to be tantalised. There was Star Wars Zone, which obviously had a lot of content for all of us Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I heard that Matty Boy and Lukey Boy from Star Wars Sessions were there. They had a little stall in the Star Wars area, and I did see pictures of the Jedi News store, which looked fantastic as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, great to see everybody having a great time down in the big smoke, as they say up here in Newcastle, the big city. I just want to dive into about Lego. Obviously, Lego had quite a big presence there. Just talk us through how awesome the Lego presence was, and then talk us through some awesome set reveals.
Yeah, so obviously, as everyone knows, I'm involved with the Jedi News Gang, and Pete obviously comes along with us on occasions as well, and we've had a lot of fun. Jedi News is heavily involved with Lego, and they kindly allowed us to be the first ones, mainly in the UK, to display the sets that are due out in August. So I got to get up close and personal with the Yavin 4 set, which I have to admit, until I saw it in person, I wasn't 100% sure on. And no, it's quite a cool little display piece. Not quite to my feeling up to the standard of what they did for Vader's castle. But I have to admit, looking at the Y-wing that comes as part of the set, really, really nice piece of a nice little build to go with that actual main temple side of it. And the characters, I have to admit, the prints on the characters for that. So you've got the Princess Leia um, in her gown, and she's actually got the same braided hair that they use for the Padme character. And yeah, obviously the Luke and Han figure come with, whereas previously when they've done the medal characters, it's been the medal printed onto the actual figure. This one actually has a medal that attaches to underneath the headpiece. So that was a really, really nice touch. We also had the mech characters, so the Stormtrooper, the Vader, and the Boba Fett. Had to think for a second there. And for someone who was really standoffish with these ideas, I have to admit they do look like really fun builds. And the minifigures that come with them are really quite impressive. So I might have to take back my words that I've said in the past about the mech characters. Obviously, there was the Obi-Wan Starfighter, which is really a bit of a rehash of the previous model. The only thing I would say, the Yoda character, I think the print's a bit better. The head mold seemed um, a little more detailed for my liking. And obviously you've got the double-sided print, I think, of the R2 unit, which came with the trash compactor set. So the R2 is a really nice R2 unit with that build. So that was quite an impressive one to look at. And then obviously there was the Mandalorian set, which is the funny spider droid type thing that kidnaps Mando. And again, you have got an absolutely awesome print for the Bo-Katan figure. And having obviously recently got the Bo-Katan figure anyway, when I bought her fighter ship, I'm now looking at that thinking I'm going to have to get another Mandalorian kit and get another Bo-Katan. But that looked really, really impressive. So yeah, it was well worth looking at there. Um, I think that was all the kits we had on display there. Just double checking. But definitely, I would say with the Yavin 4 set, I've reassessed what I thought about that to begin with. And obviously, yeah, with the mech characters, I've definitely changed my mind slightly on those and may well be heading for a purchase with those.
Yeah, I think the Yavin 4 was quite a big set. It's going to be expensive. For me, giving me vibes of Vader's castle, similar to what you were saying, but
Yeah.
it's probably set I would stay away from just because of the size of it and the cost. The mechs, again, I'm similar to you where I was like, yeah, probably leave it. But then looking at the pictures of them that's come out of the convention, the mechs look absolutely fantastic, I think. And I'm probably not going to buy one just for space reasons, but yeah, the mechs look absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so glad with that Mando set. Obviously, that's one of my favorite episodes of Mando was when Mando obviously goes underneath the mines of Mandalore, gets attacked by that sort of sentient slash droid spider type creature. And we didn't really get much backstory on the creature, and I'm looking forward to getting that in a book. Maybe hopefully we'll get a visual dictionary for the Mandalorian, and it'll be in there. So the fact they've done a Lego set with it, I think, is wonderful. So that's really cool. And obviously, all you Bo-Katan fans out there, it sounds like you're very happy with the print, Jason. So it looks like a very decent minifigure purchase to go inside of it, which is good. Sorry, go ahead and finish your point.
Whilst I think about it, with the Mando figure as well, it's a printed Darksaber this time, rather than just a black lightsaber insert. So it looks the part.
Awesome. So some good upgrades on these minifigs with this set. Obviously, I don't know if they actually had the set there or if they just announced it during the convention, but obviously the Ghost from the Ahsoka TV series.
Yeah, that one. Obviously, that's been revealed by I think it was one of the shops in Australia has brought out their catalogue, and it sort of jumped the gun of the big Lego reveal, as they do quite often. It quite often comes out before. But yeah, I've seen the images, and this, to me, there's going to be naysayers, but I think the Ghost and Phantom 2 set is going to be a big purchase for me.
Yeah, obviously this is the Ghost, obviously the ship from Star Wars Rebels, but this is in its form from the Ahsoka TV show coming in August.
Yep.
Obviously you get Hera Syndulla, you get Chopper, you also get Jason Syndulla, but bit of a change on Jason Syndulla. We've got brown hair instead of green hair from the animated series. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where they're going with that. Be interesting to see how it's going with the character. Obviously, the previous image that we'd seen, I think, was supposed to be just like a family photo shoot or photo shot that Hera had with Jason at the end of Rebels, from what I can remember of that episode. So we didn't have a lot of detail on that character. But yes, a bit confusing, very different look to what we'd expect. So whether this is a big reveal, obviously we don't actually know that is definitely the character. Because I don't think it's named on the box, or I didn't see anywhere it was named. So I think it's just been assumed that it is Jason Syndulla. So there is a possibility that it could be another character, but I think it probably is him. But it'll just be interesting to see what's going on with that character. And I'm sure, Dave Filoni always explains everything. So I've got confidence that there's a reason for it.
Well, I just think, like things in animation, when you change how where things are, I think sometimes things don't work. So I think if they've screen tested a green wig, right, or green hair dye or whatever,
yeah,
and it doesn't look quite right on camera, no matter how you light it, then it looks too outlandish, maybe.
Yeah.
Then maybe you need to make that change. If you remember Ahsoka's Lekko, the smaller here than they were in Rebels, because they film better in the easier to put on an actor. Does that make sense? So, and I think, there'll be some people saying, he's meant to be half Twi'lek, but it's like, for me, if he was half Twi'lek, it would be on the skin. I'd have one Lekko, or, do you know what I mean? It'd be more of it wouldn't just be the colour of his hair. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't equate the fact he's a punk rocker to the fact he's, a hybrid species. I'm one of those guys where, I don't really mind as long as I get the character right. I think a change of hair colour is not too bad, especially when I imagine it's probably down to how it looked when they've screen tested the green. And I imagine they've thought, nah, this doesn't look right, doesn't look good. But who knows? It could be anything. Maybe he likes dyeing his hair. Maybe he's hiding the fact he's a hybrid. Time will tell, I suppose. But the set, that's back into the set. As a Lego fan, as a Rebels fan, Jason, obviously I know there's already a Ghost already out there. How does this Ghost seem different to the previous Ghost released by Lego?
Yeah, obviously, I have the original Ghost. It was actually the first ever Star Wars Lego kit that I got. And I've got both of the Phantoms, and they're my pride and joy. But this one to me looks like it's got the right sort of details, because obviously you take off the top. Inside, you've got the way that you drop down from the cockpit into the main crew area, which wasn't in the previous kit. It just looks like it's been finished off better. Which obviously, Lego's moved on a lot since, I think it's 10 years since they last did the Ghost. So there's a lot of improvements, and I'm definitely looking forward to hoping to purchase it and see what I can get done. And comparing the two side by side when I get the chance.
Definitely. I think for me, I think the set looks absolutely fantastic. This new set. It excites us because we're on the journey to Ahsoka now. It's coming at the end of May. Sorry, end of August. Sorry, not May.
Yeah,
And this Lego set sort of the first big reveal about who we're going to get, which is pretty exciting times. Obviously, quite a big set. So it'll take up some space. It'll take up some money out of the bank account, I imagine.
well, I seen the price of $169, so it's probably going to be around that sort of pound mark as well for us here in the UK. I would have thought.
Lovely stuff. So it's probably not a set I will get, but if you buy it, I'll happily come and have a look at it. Let's put it that way.
Definitely, yeah.
I'll come play with some minifigures if you get it, 100%.
Yeah, well, the one thing my pride and joy in my collection is that I have the entire crew of Ghost, including Sabine, both with her helmet and her hairpiece, which I was determined to get, and it ended up costing me a small fortune just to get the Sabine minifigure with both bits, because she's more common with her hairpiece than with her helmet.
Great get. Moving on from Lego. Obviously, there were some Star Wars guests in attendance at London Film and Comic Con. Which guests were there? Did they seem to be having a good time?
Yeah, well, the big draw of the day, and all of the weekend, and social media seems to have exploded over not just one actor from Star Wars, but two, and that's obviously the great Tamara Morrison, who sadly I didn't get to meet, but I saw some of the interactions that were going on with the fans, and he was just loving it. James, on the Friday, which sadly I couldn't get up to, he was Tamora Morrison went round looking at all of the stands. James spotted him, didn't know quite what to do, called out his name, Tim, and with that he came over, had a chat, and shook hands. And yeah, from what I can gather, he spent quite a bit of time walking around, meeting people on the show floor. And likewise, Danny Trejo, well, I think it's Danny Trejo, the Rancor keeper, he was there, and him and Tim seem to be playing up. There's some quite funny photographs over social media of the two of them doing bits and pieces together and separately. But yeah, the fans were eating up those two guys. There was a raft of other actors. I saw today Brian Bovell, who was the one of the prisoners in Andor who escaped. There was a group of cosplayers all dressed up in the white suits without their shoes on, and they had a good photo session with him over in the Star Wars zone. Robert Ems, he did an interview on stage. He was quite a popular draw. Just going through all these, there's so many of the different Star Wars actors that were there. A lot of them obviously are actors from, throughout the different eras. Um, one I didn't actually see. I wasn't sure what day she was there. Was Natalia Taylor, obviously from The Mandalorian. I would have loved to have caught up with her, because obviously she was also in the Harry Potter series. Um, there was quite a few of the Ewok guys there. So we've got Brian Wheeler. Oh no, Brian Wheeler was Jawa. You've got Willie Coppen, Michael Hembry, Katie Purvis, Trevor Jones, Mike Edmonds, who's the big, normally quite a draw at the fan events. Ray Hassett was quite an interesting one. James actually interviewed him on stage. And I believe there may well be, I think that might be going out on Jedi News at some point. Um, so that was quite an interesting interview, and I don't want to get her name wrong. I want to say it's Ingvild Delilah or Delia, who was the actress that was the body double for Carrie Fisher in Rogue One for the sequence. Um, Obviously at the end of Rogue One. Um, we bumped into her when we were doing a wander around, and she seemed really lovely. Stopped, had a quick chat, said hello. Um, I think James was going to try and catch up with her, but obviously it was very, very chaotic with they were busy signing, and as always, all of the Star Wars characters or actors were there being heavily interviewed and heavily autograph signing. Oh, one guy did get to speak to briefly was Eric Walker from I can't remember which one of the Ewok. I think it was both of the Ewok films, but he was there. He seemed like a really nice guy, chatting to everyone. So yeah, there was a lot of Star Wars actors, costume actors that you might not necessarily recognize their faces because they were heavily made up. But no, they were some real nice guys there. And obviously, there was guys from the UK Garrison, Rebel Legion, um, the Mando Mercs were there as well. And funnily enough, the Mando Mercs, Colt Sheed clan, have put up today that they got visited by the great comedian Frank Skinner. And there's a great photograph going around on social media of him in their cell, in their prison cell, with a couple of the Mandos standing guard over him.
Awesome stuff. Sounds like quite a heavy Star Wars presence. Was there much of any other fandoms there, like Marvel, DC, Doctor Who, things like that?
Yeah, there was a mixture. There was quite a few of the Doctor Who's. I had the privilege of finally meeting my favourite Doctor, Sylvester McCoy. Obviously, he was my Doctor, so he was there. Someone I didn't bump into, I would have loved to have seen was Clark Gregg and I can never say this one, Ian DeCastica, I think it was, or Castica, who were both from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is one of my favourite Marvel series. Obviously, Matt Smith was there more so these days for his appearance in House of Dragons, but obviously also famous for being the Doctor. An actress I would love to have got a chance to speak to, but sadly didn't get to, was Amanda Tapping, who, if you're like me and loved your 90s sci-fi series, was obviously Captain Carter. Was it Carter in Stargate? So she was there. One of my favourite actresses when she pops up. A lot of the guys from House of Dragons, so you got Eve Best, she was there. So they were propping up quite a lot all over the place. And yeah, just lots and lots of actors from very different TV and film series. Of David Wenham, who obviously from Lord of the Rings, really good actor. I would have liked to have bumped into him for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of people to, if you got the chance to wander around, and if you had the money to do all the autographs, there was pretty much a choice for many people.
Awesome. Obviously, you talk about Lego and Lego being there and building some sets. What other awesome Star Wars merchandise did you see later about the convention floor?
Well, there was next door to Jedi News, and working alongside us was Funko Rivals Star Wars Rivals game, which I ended up purchasing. I'd held off at Celebration. It was obviously a big thing at Celebration, and I got to have a go at playing the game whilst I was there, and I've bought a set, so that I'm looking to find someone to play Star Wars role playing games against now. Um, so yeah, that was really cool. There was loads of the guys from Padawan Outpost were there. I got to catch up with them. They had an awesome stall of sabers. Oh, and of the cosplaying and groups, I should mention that the Saber Guild were also there. And my daughter had a lovely lightsaber training lesson with them. So yeah, there was lots of there was quite a few different, obviously Padawan Outpost I've dealt with, bought off of. There was other groups there that I'd not come across but had some really interesting lightsabers. There's people like, obviously all the cool stuff were there selling a lot of the Star Wars figures, and I finally purchased my George Lucas in the Stormtrooper um, figure, so I've now got that. But yeah, there was lots and lots of merchandise to be purchased, lots of t-shirts. There was temporary tattoos, which I nearly went for. But yeah, no, just lots of, there was a lot of stuff to walk around, a lot of stuff to see and do. There was a bounty hunt of for the kids in the Star Wars zone. So you had to look for a little picture that had been drawn by the artist. Trying to think of the guy's name now. He was absolutely Jamie. That's right. He'd done the drawings, and if the kids found the little bit of bounty, took it back to him, then they got a lovely little booklet that he put together of colouring pages. So that was really cool, keeping the kids entertained whilst they were there. And it was a good family event. There was a lot of kids going around looking at the merchandise, getting involved, which is always a positive for these sort of things. And yeah, it was just really a lot of fun. So lots to keep people active.
Brilliant. And then, which Star Wars cosplays did you see the most of?
Um, Quite a few stormtroopers, as always. Few Mandos, few Boba Fett's. Yeah, there was a mixture. There wasn't as many as I'd seen at the likes of MCM and obviously Celebration. It was just wall to wall. But no, there was a steady flow of different, quite a few, generic Jedi's and that sort of thing, wielding their lightsabers, which is always fun, and it's something that the kids love, having their photo taken with a Jedi, and just having a look at the lightsabers. So, but there was generally just a mixture of different things.
Awesome. So this was your first Showmasters event. Would you definitely go back to another one?
I had previously done their smaller one down in Bournemouth, and I have to admit they're fun. They get a good involvement, and they're starting to realise as well. They quite realise the draw on Star Wars, so they're putting a bit more emphasis on it. So I'm hoping over the years to come, obviously Showmasters have been doing these sort of events for a very long time, so they know what they're doing. But it would, I'd like to see more of the guys But I do understand, especially in London, getting into London with your costumes and that is difficult because obviously parking's not great. You've got to use the tube and you've got a carry case full of stormtrooper armor. It's just not practical. So be nice to see more getting there. But it's always something that can happen. And obviously the more people hear that it was a good event and it was enjoyable, it draws people in, and that's what needs to happen to keep these sort of events going. Because I've been locally, I've done carnivals, which is obviously a slightly different thing, but uh, over the years, getting more and more people involved and organising events is so hard, which is why I like promoting as many of the events as I can because I look at the effort that goes in behind the scenes. And likewise, you've got to respect these guys that do their costumes. The guys in the Mando Mercs, so that they're under their helmets, and like the UK Garrison guys and the Rebel Legion, and they're sweating buckets, and they put in hours just to raise. All of the guys there, and Jedi News were raising funds for Make a Wish, which is a big thing to do this purely to raise a bit of fun, and it's seeing the smile on the kid's face when they get to shake hands with Darth Vader or watch he pretends to force choke them. It's just fun, and I just hope more and more people give these sort of events a try.
Awesome stuff. I know there was a Comic-Con held up in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, but there wasn't really much Star Wars there, to be honest with you, at the convention. So I'm hoping that they do more up here, these companies, and bring more Star Wars, and I'll certainly be there. So what was your highlight of the whole LFCC? One highlight, Jason. I'll tell you what, you can pick 3 highlights. I'm generous.
One was obviously the Lego, getting to see the Lego, because as you know, I'm a huge Lego fan. James gave me insight into the kits because obviously he loves his Lego. He's probably one of the biggest collectors I know. So the Lego side of it was great for me. The Funko Rivals, getting to have a chance to play on that, and that's something I think I'm going to get quite involved with. And we've got some plans coming that we might get to talk about on here in a few episodes' time. So yeah, that was good. Funko are always popular. And I think for me though, it was going through the experience with my daughter, my youngest, for the first time. I know obviously we had a basic bought Ray costume, but she was in her element. She loved it. She played with it. Played up to it. She spent all day in the costume, no complaining. And it was her then getting to interact with people and seeing the reaction, and that sort of thing, and seeing the different cosplayers because they put so much effort into it. I feel, buying a costume, I feel a bit of a cheat when I look at the hours that go into some of these suits of armors and Jedi robes. So, I think for me I love seeing that in action, and I love seeing the reaction to the kids, which I think is what makes Comic Cons great.
No, definitely. I'm doing a convention and Star Wars Celebration, so I'm definitely getting itchy for another one. Speaking of conventions, San Diego Comic Con is coming in a few weeks' time, obviously 19th to the 23rd of July. Obviously, Ahsoka's around the corner, end of August. I imagine we'll get some Ahsoka reveals to do with the actual TV. Maybe we'll get a new trailer. Maybe we'll get a sizzle reel, something like that. And I also think that, obviously, Lego have announced that their big set is this, the Ghost set from Ahsoka and Star Wars Rebels. And, the rumor is that HasLab, they failed the last 2 Star Warses. We all know how much I wanted the Rancor, and it didn't happen. And then they tried to do Reva's lightsaber as well after that, which didn't happen. So they need to come with something big. And, they're possibly coming with a the 3.75 inch scale vintage collection Ghost from Ahsoka and Star Wars Rebels, which will, I'll buy 2 straight away if they do that. So we possibly might get those announced. But what are you excited for hearing coming out of San Diego Comic-Con? And obviously, what are you excited about seeing firsthand in the run-up to Ahsoka coming out in August, Jason?
Well, as well as Ahsoka, I think we're getting ready to hear more about Skeleton Crew, and I'm quite interested in seeing what that's all about. Because that's something that's been flying under the radar a little bit. And from what I can gather, that's going to be hot on the heels of Ahsoka. So obviously we've had quite a few big reveals. I do think we will have another reveal for Ahsoka, but I'm looking forward to seeing if they're going to whet our appetite with more of Skeleton Crew after that as well. So that's something I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right to bring that up. I think, Jude Law's been popping up. There's comments popping up, pictures popping up all over. So it's quite subtle, but I think he is ready, and they are ready with that production to start dishing the goods and start giving us a tease of what to expect, which will be very, very exciting. If the HasLab is the Ghost in a 3.75 inch scale vintage collection release, Jason, are you going to commit to getting one?
At the moment, probably not. I'm probably going to stick with my Lego collection. I have started collecting more Hasbro stuff. As I mentioned, I picked up the George Lucas. I was going to talk in a bit about something I accidentally purchased or got a hold of last weekend. But yeah, Hasbro stuff. I've I've only got a small place, so I've got to stick loyal to me Lego stuff. Admittedly, I am torn because if it is Ghost and obviously my love of Rebels, then I would be seriously tempted. So yeah, I am struggling with that one, but financially, I don't think it'll be a possibility.
Well, I shouldn't, but I'm going to commit to 2. Plus, imagine the add-ons. It's going to be all the awesome characters, isn't it? It's going to
Yeah, that's the
stretch
other
goals
thing.
a bit.
Yeah, and the good news is that it sounds like they're going to announce all of the add-ons prior when they announce the actual HasLab, so there's none of this teasing all the time like the Rancor Keeper and everything.
Yeah.
So
And actually, real
hopefully,
add-ons instead of have a cardboard cut out to go around your Rancor, which was just ridiculous. This is going to be hot.
yeah,
Give us carded 3.75 inch figures to go with it. That's what we want. Give us it, and I will buy 2. Pretty good deal for Hasbro if they do it right. They can have 2 loads of my money. So speaking of purchases, you've teased it there, Jason. What other Star Wars purchases have you been making over the recent couple of weeks?
Well, I had the pleasure last weekend on Sunday, 2nd of July, to go up to Bristol for the M-Shed event organised by Droid Builders UK. Again, this was another event for Make-A-Wish UK, and it was a really fun. It's a small venue. It's a small museum down by the Docklands in Bristol. And you go in, and there was wall-to-wall droids. They were all there. R2D2. You had BB-8. You had all sorts there, and just basically it was fun to walk around, meet the guys. I think there was about 16 of the guys from Droid Builders. So there's a lot of the guys that have worked on the droids, talking to people about how they got into making droids, what they do. It was a real good event for that sort of thing. They were supported. It was organised. I'm going to give him a shout out. It'll embarrass him a bit. Mike Berry was one. It was the main droid builder who organised the event. Want to say this is the 3rd year they've done it. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think it's getting bigger and bigger each year. and they were supported by the MK Garrison, who were there walking around. You had Vader, stormtroopers, Twi'leks, just walking around on the harbour side having their photos taken. There was a Chewie. I got a rather amusing photograph of Chewbacca stood by an ice cream van. Didn't see him actually purchase an ice cream, but he certainly looked like in the heat he could have probably done with it. So that was really fun. Inside they also had my favourite store, Jedi Archives, were there, doing their first sort of fan event away from the shop. And then there was another couple of companies. There was Cerebral Toys and Retro Bristol, and they were selling merchandise. And that I think they definitely had a fun day selling lots of Star Wars goodies to the people that were just dropping in. And it was just one of those events that sort of I think pops up and catches everyone unaware. But whilst I was there, Jedi Archives had something that I'd looked at and never realised quite how fun it was. And I purchased the Emperor's Throne set, which obviously is one of the new ones in like the cardboard box, so you sort of don't know what you're sort of getting. And you pull off the outer sleeve, and it opens up, and you've got the plastic Emperor's throne with the Emperor, and then you've got the backdrop of the window of the Death Star, and on either side there's a platform that you can then put Luke and Vader. And along with the figure of the Emperor that you get, you also get the removable hands that you can then put on the hands with the lightning effect, and you get his cane and Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. So that in itself was a really cool set that I was really pleased to get. And then I also purchased the Vader figure that they've brought out to go alongside it, which is the figure where the helmet comes off, and underneath you've got the battle scarred Vader. The arm comes off, as you know, and yeah, I was really pleased. Two really nice pieces of equipment there. So I'm looking forward to, once I've sorted my flat out, finding somewhere to nicely display them.
Well, those are 3/3/4 inch scale vintage collection figures. Did you
That's
know
right.
that?
Yeah, that's right.
So you've
I can
started
never
down the
remember.
rabbit hole, Jason, and then the HasLabs come in, and
Oh, I
after you
know,
might get
I know.
itchy. You're going to get itchy.
I think I have to admit they were the Vader print, the actual mold on the head is absolutely gorgeous. They've really pulled out with those. So yeah, I am sort of holding myself back tentatively at the moment. So but I have to admit the main thing was my thing is I like a nice display piece, and that to me was a really nice display piece, and for the price that I luckily got offered it for, I was definitely pleased to get it.
No, it's very cool deal. I think very awesome. I think you should sign up with the HasLab, and then if it gets funded, you get it. But if it doesn't, then you don't worry about it. You don't have to pay. Let fate
True,
decide.
true. We will see nearer the time of the announcement, but I may.
We will see. We will
Try to
see.
think. What's this?
Is it
Oh,
anything else Star Wars related you want to chat about this week?
no, I think there's lots coming up soon that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to Ahsoka, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. Um, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to more and more Lego announcements. I know there's more announcements to come ready for September. The Ghosts is obviously leaked already, but I know there are more to come, and I think we'll all be looking forward to those.
Awesome stuff. I think for me, what I'm excited about is I'm excited for San Diego Comic-Con because I think, like I said, I think we'll get the HasLab announcement of the Ghost and what the stretch goals are going to be, and I'm excited to sign up to that and be a part of that. The bank account isn't, but I am. I'm excited. And just to see how it goes and hopefully get funded, which it should, and then go from there. Like I said, I think we'll get the next bit of promotional material for the actual series Ahsoka, which comes in August, so whether that's a trailer or a sizzle reel or some sort. But I think we'll definitely get something like that at San Diego Comic-Con as well, which will be cool. Because really, San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to be like pretty much bang on 4 weeks, a month away from Ahsoka. So it'll be nice to get a nice little visual tease or visual trailer, visual sizzle reel going to keep us going till the end of August for Ahsoka wise. So that's probably the two things I'm really excited about. Obviously, my Star Wars office, here where I record the podcast, is coming on nicely since I moved house. Still some ways to go, but I've got a lot of space to work now, and I've actually got a lot of figures and merch that I've purchased in the past that's been in storage. So I'm excited to get that out and explore it. So stay tuned to our socials to see all about that. But I think that brings us nicely to a close this week, Jason. Last question for you, I suppose. Have you seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny yet?
No, I haven't managed to get to the cinema to see it yet, and I'm dying. My 18-year-old daughter spoke to me earlier today to tell me that she's going to see it for the second time, hopefully. So she loved it. And I know, obviously, the rest of the Jedi News guys went to the premiere, and they all seem to be full of it. So I'm waiting with bated breath.
I think definitely go see it when you can in cinemas before it leaves, because it looks fantastic. But yeah, I thought it was truly wonderful, and full of heart. It was a great film, great send off, great ending. That's all I'll say for now. But yeah, definitely check Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny out. Listeners and you, Jason, definitely catch it while you can in cinemas. I'm going to try and catch it a second time in cinemas before it goes, I think, just to witness it on the big screen. That, nothing better than the awesome visuals and also that John Williams score coming through on the surround sound. There's nothing better than that in the movie theatre. But no, that sums it up. Jason, where can the people find you on social media?
As always, at Hondo Ling. And I will try and reply. I'm still trying to get my head around the Twitter sphere, but I will definitely reach out to me and I'll be there.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Geordie Jedi Pete. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Boz Star. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please leave us a top review. 5 stars, nice little comment. Really does make us happy, and it also helps other people find the show. If you're listening on any other type of podcast service, that gives you an opportunity to rate the show. Again, just leave us a top rating. Takes you a couple of moments, but it makes me and Jason smile forever. So no blackmail there. It is wonderful. But yeah, if you check out the link on our social media, sort of in our bio, that'll take you to sort of the links to everywhere you can find us, and also our Patreon, which is coming very soon. So if you want to support the show, you can do that through Patreon and get yourself some nice rewards as well. But that is all from me and Jason. May the force be with you all, and remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
Yeah, 3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Gamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.